everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. I'm Fran, this is Frannook in the pages, and I am coming back today with a TBR video. All my past TBR videos on this channel have been monthly TBRs. This time around I'm doing something slightly different because this is going to be a seasonal TBR. I'm going to cover the books that I hopefully plan on reading during the months of October and November. So it's like a fall autumn TBR. I have some mysteries, I have some witchy paranormal books, I have some non-fiction books for non-fiction November, I have some graphic novels. There's a lot here. So many books that I really want to read, and hopefully I will actually get to them. Judging from previous experiences, that might not happen, but I want to be hopeful because it's the fall season. I love the autumn vibes, so that really makes me feel pumped and excited for these books that I plan on reading in these few months. As I've said before, I love to go into a book without knowing too much about it because I don't want any surprises or plot twists to be spoiled or ruined in any way, and I just want to be surprised. I don't want to know what's about to happen. I won't tell you too much about the books that I'm going to show you and talk about in this video, but hopefully the little that I say will catch your interest in some way. Perhaps these books were already on your radar or something, and I might spark some desire in you to read these books as well. Before we begin, a quick reminder to subscribe to my channel if you haven't, to like this video, and click on the bell icon if you want to get notified whenever I upload a new video. You can follow me on Instagram, befriend me on Goodreads, and I have a Coffee account, which is a digital tipping service. You will find all this information in the description down below. Let's begin with the books that I'm currently reading and listening to. The book that I'm currently listening to is From Scratch by Tembi Locke.
This is supposed to be a TBR, but Frannook in the pages has read this book for the millionth time, right?
Second time.
Yes. But just because the show is coming out on Netflix, she was like, oh my god, I can't wait to watch it. So let me reread the book. Anyway, so I don't know what it's doing on the TBR because this was among the best books of 2021. 2020. Imagine that. And we're almost in 2023. Anyway.
As she said, I've read this book before, I've listened to it before actually, and that's the way to go if you want to read this book, by the way. It was one of my favorite books of 2020, and it's one of my favorite books of all time. It's one of my favorite memoirs of all time. I just love it so much. It's about this woman, Tembi Locke. She is an actress and she's from the US. She went for an exchange program to Italy for a few months, and there she met a guy that she fell in love with. Yes, this book is about their love story and how they met, but it's also about him being diagnosed with cancer and dying after 20 years, I think, of them being together. And it's about her dealing with this huge loss, her trying to be a good parent to their daughter that is now fatherless, and it's also about her trying to reconnect with his parents. He's from a small rural town in Sicily. The parents didn't accept at first this union, and then things happened, and now that he's gone, she's trying to reconcile with them, and she's trying to make sure that they have roots in Sicily, that their family union is still strong and will weather the passing of time. Prepare your tissues because this will make you cry so many times. And even now that I'm re-listening to it, like, there are times that I think, okay, the worst has passed. Now I can keep listening to it without being in a flood of emotions, and then there's a sentence, there's a passage that just hits me and I am crying all over again, and it's just beautiful. And the reason why I'm re-listening to it is because on October 21st, the Netflix TV show adaptation is coming out. It stars Zoe Saldana. I watched the trailer. She was incredible. She nailed it. to perfection. It's going to be so good. And the song playing throughout the trailer, particularly at the end, is a song that I am now obsessed with because it is absolute perfection. Oh my gosh, I just love this book so much, and I am ready for October 21st because this is going to be a hit. It's going to be incredible.
So next book is Meddling Kids. She talked about this book in a video. I don't know if this video was last year or this year, but
It was last year.
exactly. So either she's going to reread it or she didn't read it last year. And guys, please, if she's not reading these books, then why are we even watching these videos, okay? And this is from like the #1 fan, okay? So if she says TBR, to be read in 2021, and it's right here in 2023, I don't know what we have to.
The other book that I'm currently reading is a buddy read with Isabella at It's Bells. I will leave, as always, the link to her channel in the description down below. You've heard of her before. She's amazing. Go check her out. This book is Meddling Kids by Edgar Cantero. I hope that you can see the cover. I'm sorry for the reflection of the sun on the plastic, but this used to be a library book, so it's wrapped in plastic. Anyway, this is supposed to be a what happens when the kids from Scooby-Doo, because in my mind they're kids, they're not adults. What happens when the kids from Scooby-Doo grow up in the actual real world? They are a little bit screwed up and they are suffering from PTSD from a particular case that they solved in their childhood, but they're not quite satisfied, they're not convinced by what actually happened, what they thought happened. And so now they're going back to that place in Blython Hills or something like that to investigate again and actually figure out what happened because it didn't quite make sense. I had started this book last year, but I was in a particularly stressful time where I couldn't really dedicate too much attention to this book, and this book needs attention. It's asking for attention. You have to give yourself to it completely. And so I wasn't in the right mindset, in the right headspace. Therefore, I put it down despite loving the prologue and the first chapter. They blew my mind away. The writing is so good. The characterization of the protagonists and so on was so good, but I wasn't in the right place to read this book, to focus on it. And this time around, I think I might be, I hope I might be, and I just cannot wait to continue reading it. I read again the prologue and the first chapter, and it was as good as I remembered, if not more. So I cannot wait to continue reading it and see how it turns out. Also because, I don't know if you might have heard, but Velma is gay. And that just makes my gay heart so damn happy. And now I'm just obsessed with everything Scooby-Doo again, so I have to read it. It's like the perfect time. A graphic novel that I would like to read this month is Sheets by Brenna Thumler. This is the Italian edition. I got it from my local library and I cannot wait. Perhaps you know this already if you are a BookTubers watcher. But this is Ariel Bissat's favorite graphic novel. She loves it. She loves Brenna Thumler, and I absolutely trust her judgment. She's one of my favorite booktubers out there. I've said it many times and will keep on repeating it. And I don't know anything about this one, but it's giving me fall vibes. It's giving me Halloween vibes. I don't know if the ghost is actually a ghost or if it's like a metaphor for something else. I have no idea, but either way, I am so excited to finally have this in my hands, and I hope to read it this month, also because I have to return it to the library, so I have to read it this month. But yes, I'm excited and I cannot wait. A mystery that I would like to get to soon, because the fall season just says mystery to me, detectives and police investigations and all of that. That's just my jam, my go-to during the fall months. And a book that I would like to get to perhaps next month, because I think Meddling Kids is just going to, you know, it's going to take me some time to read it, but this book is Fortune Favors the Dead by Stephen Spotswood. This is the first book in a series. What I know is that it is set in New York in the 1920s, I want to say, but I'm not sure, so don't trust me on that. I might check the back of it, but there's no synopsis, of course. Why would you put the synopsis on the back of a book? That's too easy, right? 1942. Okay, so New York, 1942. I know that it's queer, I know that it's a series, and I know that the death or whoever is murdered, it happens during a Halloween party. So I might start reading it on Halloween or around Halloween and then keep reading it throughout November. I think that's what I'll be doing. I've had my eyes on this book for a year, 2 years. When did it come out? I've had my eyes on it for a while. So it is about damn time that I get to this book. And the last physical book that I have here and that I have to show you, I am probably going to read in the month of November and I cannot wait. And that is A Prayer for the Crown, Shy by Becky Chambers. This is a very short book. It's a novella and it's the second book in her Monk and Robot series. The first one is A Song for the Wild Bills. I reread it this past summer, and it was so good. It was so good. I loved it again so much. Becky Chambers is slowly becoming one of my favorite authors ever. I've only read one book of hers, but judging by the way that I loved it, I just know, I just feel it that I'm going to love this one as well, and that I'm going to just love anything that Becky Chambers writes. The series is about a teen monk named Dax, and one day they just wake up and they feel unfulfilled. They live in a city and they start thinking about crickets and how you cannot hear crickets in a city because there's too much noise, because you're not surrounded by as much nature as you should be to hear the crickets. And so they decide to leave, and during one of their trips they meet a robot. And now this book is set in a world where robots have kind of become independent from humans. There was a pact between humans and robots have basically wandered off, and nobody has seen a robot in centuries. And these two meet, and the most beautiful friendship is born. And this book just follows their conversations and their reflections upon humanity, upon nature, upon life, upon what makes humans happy. That is the question that the robot wants to try to find an answer to, and Dax is kind of supposed to help with that, but at the same time Dax has doubts of their own about their lives and what they need to be happy, about what they need. And it was so good. I cannot wait to read this one and see what they wander off to next. We have still so many books to talk about. This video is going to be so long. For a TBR, that's just the worst. I am so sorry. I'm done with the physical books, so now let's move on to the ebooks, and then we can leave the audiobooks for last, because I love audiobooks, so I want to leave them for last as a sweet conclusion to this video. So an e-arc that I would like to read this month is The Vampire and the Witch, The Witch and the Vampire by Francesca Flores, and this I don't know much about. I am guessing by the title that there's going to be a witch and a vampire. I know that it's sapphic and paranormal, and another thing that I know, and that is one of the main reasons why I requested this e-arc, is that it's a retelling of Rapunzel. And I love the story of Rapunzel. Tangled is my favorite Disney movie, one of my favorite Disney movies, and I couldn't resist. It's coming out next year in either March or April, but it's a witch and a vampire. I feel like this is the right time to read this e-arc. One of the audiobooks that I definitely want to listen to this month is Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca. I'm not sure if this is one short story, so basically a novella, or if it's a collection of short stories, but I know that it's queer and it's horror, and I don't really read many horrors. I would kind of like start to get into the genre just to give it a chance, because I've never tried to read horrors because I'm a scaredy cat and I'm afraid that I'll be terrified, but you never know if you don't give it a try, right? So I want to start with this one because it's a short story, so even if it's really scary, it's just a short story. I should be able to deal with it. That's my reasoning. And also I've listened to a sample of the audiobook and the narrator seemed very, very good. I really loved her voice. Another audiobook that definitely needs to be listened to this month because it's a witchy book is The Very Secret... No, I need to read this. Wait. The Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sandhu Mandana. Sorry about that, but it's a long title and I have a terrible memory. So this is set in the UK and it is about a witch who goes to a house called Nowhere House to become the nanny of 3 witches. And that's a very uncommon thing because for witches to not be noticed by society and so on, they tend to be alone, like they tend to stay away from other witches. They don't really meet or live in the same place. But these 3 young witches are together and they're very young, so they need someone to help them control their magic and harness their magic. It's also a love story between this witch and a grumpy librarian that lives in this house. And I know that there are some LGBT characters as well in this book, which makes me very excited, so I cannot wait. And next to audiobooks, I am definitely going to listen to in November because they come out in November, so I cannot possibly listen to them before then. They're both memoirs, so you might know what I'm talking about. The first one is Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Lie by Matthew Perry. Matthew Perry is the actor who played Chandler on Friends. I assume that you know what Friends is, otherwise leave my channel at once, please. Just kidding, but you should know. Chandler is my favorite character on Friends. I just love him to pieces, and I think that he was such a beloved character because of how Matthew Perry played it. He was so good. He was Chandler. And I know that the actor has struggled with addiction, so I think, also judging from the title, that this book is going to also focus on that, perhaps mainly focus on that. And I'm just really interested in listening to it because I think it's going to be amazing. I hope that it's narrated by him because that is going to just make it all the difference in my opinion. Like, you need to listen to a memoir when it's narrated by the person who wrote the memoir. It just gives it a whole other perspective, a whole other impact on you. It's just different. And I love his voice, I love him, so I just hope that he narrates it, and I hope that there are some Friends tidbits in there as well because I live for those, honestly. And the other memoir that I want to listen to and that I cannot wait, I didn't know that I was waiting for it, but I have been waiting for it since when I listened to her first memoir. I'm talking about Have I Told You by Lauren Graham. And Lauren Graham is, of course, the actress who played Lorelai on Gilmore Girls. She's my favorite. I mean, there's her, and then Paris, and then Lane, of course. I loved Lane and Luke. I mean, come on, Luke was just perfect, okay? And the thing is, this book coming out this year is just the cherry on top because this year I decided to do a rewatch, a re-binge of Gilmore Girls. I am currently on season 4, which is unfortunately my least favorite. I really liked the seasons where Rory was still in high school, but my favorites are from season 5 onward because that's when Rory is with Luke and they're my favorite. I cannot wait to be done with season 4 and then move on to the other seasons that I've watched many times before in the past, but never in order, not like this, apart from the very first time that I watched them. And then I want to rewatch the 4 special episodes that were released. Those ones I only ever watched once, which is unforgivable. I need to rewatch them again. So I'm just excited. I cannot wait. This fall is Gilmore Girls themed, basically. And the last audiobook that I want to mention in this video is Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. This is of course a witchy book, as the title kind of hints at. I listened to the audiobook of Stay Another Day by Juno Dawson last year at the beginning of December. It was one of my Christmas books for this season, and I loved it. It was so good. It was one of my favorite books from last year. Honestly, it was that good. And so I like the idea of having a new Juno Dawson book to keep me company every year. And so I think I'll be reading it at the end of November. So it'll kind of remind me of when I was reading Stay Another Day last year around the same time of the year. And and I cannot wait. It's witchy, it's queer, it's Juno Dawson. It's going to be amazing. And this is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching it. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of these books, or if you would like to, or if you had heard of them before. If you hadn't, let me know in the comments, because you guys know that I love talking to you. And yes, thank you so much for watching.
Once again, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, because you know, that's what it's about. I don't do these videos just for I do them so that you actually, you know, like and subscribe and, you know, keep watching. So guys, warm hugs. Bye.
And I second that. Warm hugs. Bye.